top 5 music genres that were stolen from black culture. Number 5 is country music. Yes, the music genre we most associate with being white nowadays was originated by black people. Of course, the industry has been completely dominated by white artists, but there was a time pre the 1920s it was dominated by African Americans. Number 4 is jazz. Okay, jazz started in New Orleans. It started as sort of a anti-racist movement among black people in that time. Of course, there have been amazing white jazz artists of our time, and it's important to just acknowledge where these things come from and continue to make great music, all people. Number 3 is rock and roll. This is an obvious one. We hear Elvis Presley constantly, referenced for stealing black music. This is a touchy subject because Elvis did bring a lot of black music to our consciousness, and a lot of these songs would have been lost if it weren't for him. But unfortunately, he did also steal the way these songs were sung. He didn't really put his own original spin on it, and I think that that's a big problem. Number 2 is EDM. Now, yes, electronic dance music used to be disco, and, this especially started in the nightclubs in the queer scene, and the dance balls, the drag balls, all used electronic dance music. Of course, today it's bastardized into an image of like a white dude with headphones just bopping his head on a disco pad. If you like this list and want more about other nonsense, follow me. Leave me a comment with your thoughts on this subject. I think everybody should be allowed to make music, but we always need to acknowledge where it came from. Finally, also follow my fiancée Samantha. Finally, at number 1, and fortunately, I think most of us will accredit it to African Americans.
What's up, guys? Welcome and welcome back to Cherry React. So, today's video is so serious one because we are talking about culture, who created it, who popularized it, and who gets credit for it. You have been probably seeing this debate online, black Americans saying we built this culture while others, including immigrants like Jamaicans and Latinos, and also claim influence. But here's the thing, this is not just opinions. There are really stories, really history from music, fashion to dance, what explain where all this come from. So in today's video, we are going to break it down, react, and actually look at the fact behind the culture.
But the next time that I talked about Fat Joe was in regards when he said that hip-hop was 50-50 black and Puerto Rican. That had nothing to do with his fashion or anything personal about him. But I had to say, yo, that's not true. And at some point, I offered not just Fat Joe, I offered KRS-One, Fat Joe, my brother Busta Bus, I offered Crazy Legs, who else? Pete Rock. I offered all of these guys to come to the table and let's have a debate about the origins of hip-hop. I'll bring my old school dudes from back then that's saying it was this. You bring the people that you claim to have. And we'll show you through what we've been saying that the DNA of hip hop shows that there is no other influence except foundational Black American youth influence. And this whole idea of a melting pot is ridiculous. And to act like proximity, influenced everybody is crazy.
Yo, where were all these groups at claiming they started hip hop back in the 90s when it wasn't mainstream yet and America was trying to make it just a fad that was started by some thugs that was gonna come and go? Listen to this.
Rap music is from South Africa, not New York City. It's from the Norsa community in South Africa. Now the name of the performance or the person who does this is called Mbongi, which means a praise poet. It started from the 18th century. Now the role of the Mbongi is that they arrive before the king during ceremonial events and deliver praise poetry using rhymes, metaphors, and similes whilst the king walks in and sit down. These people could also communicate with the ancestors using the same Mbongi. Now as time went on, it became more than a praise poetry. They could use it to criticize community problems. It only came to the New York in the 1970s.
Y'all know what's happening with hip-hop and rap right now is what happened with our ancestors. We're just now finding out that we literally created every genre of music. Black Americans. When you go to Google, it will show you. We created rock and roll, country. I was shook when I found that out. Because, you know, they act like they created that. R&B, jazz, hip-hop, rap. We literally created every popular genre of music that comes out of America. But what I want to know is, why did everyone feel so comfortable to come into our culture? Because that's what we started through slavery. Well, our ancestors. That's what they started. So it's like, why did everybody feel we have different races, cultures, ethnicities that are in our shit? And look what's happening to hip hop and rap right now. People feel like they can be inside. It's like, it's always been one-sided. Let a black American try to go into another race and start talking their language and taking their beats. Y'all motherfuckers would go nuts. I mean, y'all would go berserk. Y'all would be like, cultural appropriation, this, that, blah, blah, blah. I mean, we wouldn't hear the end of it. But everyone feels like they're entitled to look, dress, and talk and be in our shit. Y'all don't do this to nobody else. I mean, I say this, Jamaicans have it too. Because when you go to the UK, everyone is a bumperclot, a tank. And I'm just like, they get it too, and it's like everybody wants to be Jamaican over there, and everybody wants to be it out. It's very weird. But to sum this all up, we literally lost our connection to all of those different genres of music because we kept letting everyone in. Look what's happening to hip hop and rap. We keep letting everyone in. I don't give a fuck if this nigga can two-step better than Cassidy himself with a drink in his hand. I don't want him at the cookout. We're too big-hearted. We are way too big-hearted. Way too big-hearted. I feel like we can love from a distance. I feel like black Americans need to start thinking of ourselves. Because everyone... Let me tell you something. If it came down to it and every culture had to defend their own tribe, honey, we'd be left in the wind. I mean, these niggas would click up and dip. I mean, that once did happen. Somebody was afforded an opportunity and certain people were sold, so...
So when Kendrick Lamar was asked, where did hip-hop come from, he said,
For my generation, we're gonna say the Bronx. Shit.
The Bronx, yes, because that's exactly what history is saying. And to that, Quincy said,
It came from Africa, but they don't know their history, man.
Which piques my interest because at the end of the day, when I'm searching on Wikipedia...
Wikipedia? Using Wikipedia as your source of information?
Wikipedia says it comes from a DJ called DJ Kool Herc. Or Cock La Rock. Oh my god, I don't even know if I'm saying it right. So then who's telling the truth and who's telling the lie? As a person who's doing hip-hop learning, I just want to know. I need to calm down. So here's an article that I found. It says that hip-hop was in Africa, but it was not until the late 1980s when it actually became popular in Africa. When I'm looking at Quincy, he says it comes from Africa. But then every information that I'm saying is saying African hip-hop only started to originate until the 1980s. And then it's saying in the Bronx, it was in the 1970s, so why are you saying it's coming from Africa? However, a lot of scholars and genre enthusiasts say the genre actually dates back to Africa back into the 13th century, meaning Africa has been doing a lot of hip-hop before hip-hop was called hip-hop. Now, that means the style of rapping and bongo hype when it comes to the drums, the beats and everything may have gotten some African inspiration. However, the term hip-hop itself was coined in the Bronx, in the USA, New York. So if hip-hop is hip-hop because it came from America, then what was hip-hop when it was in Africa? I'm just thinking, I don't know, there's so many things in my mind, bro. So this is Everything You Missed in Music with Zian. Bye!
Alright, then let's start with the music, because this is where a lot of this conversation begins. When we talk about modern music like hip-hop, we are talking about a genre that was born in the Bronx, New York, created mainly by black Americans. Early pioneers like DJ Kool Herc, who was Jamaican born but working within black American communities, helped shape the sound. But here's the deeper truth. Before hip-hop, there was a jazz, blues, and rock and roll, all rooted in black American history, especially during segregation. Even artists like Elvis Presley became famous performing styles that originally came from black musicians. That's where some of frustration comes from. The influence was there, but the credit wasn't always equal. So now let's move to dance and internet culture. A lot of viral dances you see today on TikTok, many started with Black Americans creators, but often go viral to other people who get more visibility. Fashion too, from street wear to slang, a lot of trends start in black communities and spread globally. But here's the where it gets complex. Caribbean and Latino communities, especially in places like New York, also contributed. Think about the reggae, dancehall, and Latin rhythm mixing into hip hop culture. So the truth is not black and white. Black Americans laid the foundation, but the culture evolved through different groups interacting over time. That's why this conversation gets heated, because it's about recognition, respect, and history.
Hip is the mind, hop is movement. It is always about finding ways to change the mind of the youth. Rap was about a way to them to consciously bring awareness to the youth who didn't have access to that information. Graffiti was a way for people to witness about what was going on and the problems in the city and the world through tagging on metros so that those metros could actually spread news. DJing was there for a reason to keep people in that frequency, because as long as good music is playing, there's no fighting happening. You're like, oh goddamn, it's a fight coming in. I need to fit it in. And dance is what we're doing right now. The fifth element of hip hop, which is often undersnowed, let's say it, undersnowed. If you look at Zulu Nation, or Nation of Islam, or different institutions, it was always, the fifth element was knowledge of self. It is hip hop to always seek knowledge about self. That's why I say hip hop was a conscious movement.
No, matter of fact, fuck no. Jamaicans didn't help create hip-hop. Hip-hop was already being created by Black Americans. And we had several interviews, documentaries proving this. Kool Kurt, the Jamaican DJ that most people like to give credit to for creating hip-hop, already came out and said majority of his influence came from US break beats. Check this out.
Sound system. No. The sound system, the Jamaican sound systems were very prevalent in the tri-state area. Were you aware of those crews? No. And did they play with you at all in the clubs?
No, never.
So African Love, Downbeat,
but never was in the in a space that they was at. Or no.
No way. No shape, form, or fashion. Okay.
I could tell you for a sound system is on the U.S. side. That's the Smith Brothers. Respect them. Soul Brothers from out of Brooklyn, Nell Gwynns, respect them. I don't know if it's a Jamaican crew, but I know my Soul Brothers played Nell Gwynns at 42nd Street. And they have brothers like Plummer, LaBoya, Flowers, and the Disco Twins. And their boys was really into technology and big, heavy sound. With me, I was just a guy who liked to hear my sound good, clear, for my audience.
And then he even goes on to say that he wasn't too much of an engineer. He just was a person who likes to hear his sound clear and loud. That was it. His influence really came from going to Black American block parties and watching how everybody was breakdancing and listening to break music. And then he adapted that with his DJ skills to play majority of that in his clubs or parties. You can't come to America and use your own culture when this is the dominant culture in America. Black American culture is American culture. But since we're already here, If y'all really want to be petty, we could even go as far as say that reggae in Jamaica was actually influenced by Black Americans. Do y'all really want to take it there? You don't want a part two. Y'all stay up.
Going into hip hop. Hip hop is a foundational Black American creation. It's a positive creation that has changed the world. Instead of saying, hey, it's foundational Black Americans who created this culture, the narrative, well, Jamaicans helped do it too. Puerto Ricans helped do it too. Now they're saying Italians helped create some goddamn hip hop. You know what I'm saying? So instead of just giving us the credit, everybody has to kind of pick off of it and kind of vulture credit for themselves instead of giving us the credit for it. That's the problem.
I think the hip hop, the history of hip hop conversations is very important because hip hop is not just rapping.
No, it's not.
Africa Bambaataa broke down the elements, and most of us who are hip hop heads follow those elements. From breakdancing, graffiti writing, DJing, rapping as well.
All from foundational Black Americans, all of it.
Well,
all created by FBAs.
There's no doubt Puerto Ricans were present in the
present doesn't mean create. Present doesn't mean create. They were present. They were one or two at a couple of parties. They didn't create anything. Create means you did something that nobody else was doing.
When it comes to breakdancing, there were Puerto Ricans creating breakdancing moves that nobody else was doing.
No, they were doing moves that some of the old breakdancers were doing. Crazy Legs and those dudes admitted they were doing old dance moves that the FBA dancers were doing. Puerto Ricans didn't start breaking until the late 70s, early 80s. I've seen videos from the 1930s and 40s of Black people doing something that looks just like the windmill. There's stuff where Black people are doing the moonwalk. There's all types of footwork movements. There's people like Lil Buck, who was a dancer in the 1940s and 50s, doing floor work, and he inspired A1 B-Boy Sosa, Trixie, some of these people who were the early B-Boys in the early 70s. Black people were already doing these moves. They were getting a lot of the moves from James Brown and other people. We've been doing moves that look like breakdancing, and that's where they got it from. So, Puerto Ricans did not create any of that because you would see something like that in Puerto Rico. Where would they get it from if they didn't get it from us?
Well, I think hip hop is completely an American thing, regardless of where you're from.
It's a foundational Black American creation. Let's be very clear.
Also, it was created in the Bronx. Who was living in the Bronx, New York at the time in this neighborhood? There's two groups living in the Bronx in this neighborhood at this time. Black, foundational Black American, and right next to them were Puerto Ricans.
But the Puerto Ricans at the time in New York, many of them were on the same racist shit that we have a lot of people out here on. Puerto Ricans were not rocking with Black people in large numbers like that. In fact, the Puerto Rican gangs, they were walking around with swastikas on their damn jackets. The Puerto Ricans were called Nazis by some of the cats out there because they were aligning themselves with that white supremacist ideology. They were not rocking with brothers. You listen to interviews with Grandmaster Caz, he even said, hey man, it was only one or two Puerto Ricans rocking with us. They were racist against us and they were playing the congas and they weren't really going to the parties like that. It was only one or two. So we're not going to give credit to one or two folks who wandered off into a party and make it seem like that person was a creator. It's a 100% FBA creation.
After watching this, here's the real question. Is it about who owns culture or about who gets recognized for creating it? Because culture doesn't stay in one place. It is spread, but history should never erased. Let me know what you think in the comments. So, do you believe Black American culture is being copied without credit, or do you think it's all shared influence? So, don't forget to like, subscribe, and join the family. This is Charlie React. So, I will see you in the next video. Bye bye.